evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mary W. Shelley. 200 years ago, I wrote a novel of some success entitled Frankenstein, or the Modern Prometheus. While originally written to win a small contest amongst personal friends, it was my desire to create a story that cautioned the world against oncoming technological advances from which both triumph and tragedy would occur. I'm sure you have all seen or read one version or another of my little story. I assume you have come to the theater this evening with your own preconceived notions as to what this story is about and what you are going to view. I am pleased to say it is the intention of the playwright to present the story as I originally envisioned it. Before we begin our tale, I feel it prudent to issue this small warning. The story you're about to view may cause you to experience feelings of dread, fright, and horror. It may induce shock and dismay at points. I caution, should you choose to remain for the performance, the doors shall be locked and escape will be impossible. For the aspiring writers in the audience, this is what we call foreshadowing. I shall give you 10 seconds now to exit the theater should you wish to do so. Now that we have your attention, I encourage you to sit back, relax, and enjoy Frankenstein or the Modern Prometheus.
August 19th, to Mrs. Sayville. My dear sister Margaret, it is my greatest hope that these letters have brought you some element of comfort. For the past 6 months, my crew and I have trekked farther than any thought possible. I write this letter with the distressing news that we are currently trapped within the ice of what I can assume is the edge of the Arctic Circle. Latitude and longitude are unknown due to the lack of a clear sky. Where we are is beyond my own best guess. I write this letter with the vain hope that we can proceed north as planned. Many of the crew, even my first mate, want to return safely to England as soon as the ice breaks. I, however, remain devoted to my cause, as I believe we can weather the peril. Yet should the unthinkable happen, and I am unable to return to you, it is my hope that this journal somehow finds its way into your gentle hands. I find no other way to begin this tale. I am not even sure what I am about to reveal to you is real. But I beg you to hold fast in my absolute certainty that I can still judge the character of men. We begin 3 weeks prior to this story. I ask you one final time. Who are you? And how in God's name did you arrive at this remote location? Clearly you are possessed of some madness.
Madness to some, genius to others, dear Captain.
Your presence on my ship has worn out its welcome. My crew is on the verge of mutiny as we speak, and I will not have you be the flame to the Powder King. So I ask you one final time, what is your name, sir? And what is your purpose here? Answer me now, or by the grace of God himself, I will send you to meet him.
Based on your appearance, Captain, I feel quite comfortable in asking you this. Are you a man who believes that there is no price to pay for one's own ambition?
What you call ambition, I call desire. Both are not without risk. Nothing should stand in the way of progress.
And we have much to discuss, my friend. I trust you'll have an ample supply of rum aboard. Goodness knows you'll need the lot when I am finished.
Your name?
My name, dear Captain, is famous amongst the appropriate circles. And it was once a name of great renown and nobility, but now, fire if you like, Captain. I welcome it.
What manner of man stares down the barrel of his own destruction and welcomes it? Do you have a death wish?
May I tell you a story?
What in the name of God was that?
Remember the old proverb, Captain. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it.
So be it. Begin your story.
My story, Captain, begins about 3 years ago. And my name is Victor. Dr. Victor.
And so, gentlemen, I implore you as you begin your studies here at the University of Ingolstadt, that you always remember that fact trumps fiction. We do not concern ourselves with what might be or what could have been, but rather with what is. This is medicine, chemistry, anatomy, biology, infectious diseases. Fact. And now, to conclude our orientation, I place you in the capable hands of our esteemed professor of chemistry, Professor Volman.
Thank you, Professor Krampf. As you begin your studies, gentlemen, I encourage you to remember that medicine, while wondrous, does not substitute for plain common sense. As any doctor of noble standing will tell you, the one thing we all most desire is to be able to save every life. You must harden your heart to the fact that no matter how great your best efforts and talent are, you will not save everyone. Only then can you truly become doctors. Thank you, gentlemen, and welcome to the university.
Can I help you, young man?
Forgive me, sir, but I was just curious about something you stated.
And you are?
Frankenstein, sir. Victor Frankenstein of Geneva. My father was...
Ah, you're Alphonse's boy, are you? Good man. fine doctor. His advancements in the treatment of scarlet fever are most impressive.
Yes, and quite level-headed, as I recall. Now, what can we do for you, young Frankenstein?
Forgive me, sir, but it is just the mere idea of sticking strictly with fact. You do not mean we should abandon all flights of fancy and alchemical theory? Albertus Magnus, Cornelius Agrippa, and so forth.
Dear Lord, not another one. I swear to you, Professor Baldwin, we should take all these flights of fancy and turn them into a compost pile. Mr. Frankenstein, let me assure you that should the names of any alchemist or sorcerer escape your lips during one of my lectures, you will spend your very short career in medicine mopping up entrails in the animal dissection lab. We are here to explore fact, and it's your ability to deal with fact and reality that you will solely be graded on. Good day, young sir.
Pay him no mind, young Frankenstein. Professor Crump suffers from a debilitating disease, which I like to call lack of imagination. Something tells me, Mr. Frankenstein of Geneva, that great things will be coming from you. I will see you in chemistry class bright and early tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
My dearest Victor, how we have all missed you these past 6 months. Father beams at the mere mention of your name. He waits eagerly for any correspondence you may have sent. William looks more like mother every day. You've never seen a happier or more beautiful little boy. Mother and I spend many an hour talking of the future.
By the angels, Justine Moritz, how many times must I remind you? Left cross, right fold, tuck and flip.
Yes, Mother, I folded the laundry exactly as you instructed. I cannot imagine why you would be dissatisfied.
Clearly. Another lesson after we have finished this morning's chores. Oh, good morning, madam. I trust everything is well.
As well as can be expected, Mrs. Moritz, thank you.
Well, Justine will have your clothes folded and pressed in just a few moments. Get busy, girl, or I will have you cleaning out the horses' stalls by nightfall.
I see she's starting early today.
My God, if I didn't love that woman. What's this? I do hope you're writing Victor something scandalous and decadent to keep him by your side.
And I'll thank you not for crying.
You are truly blessed, Elizabeth. Victor is the kindest, most handsome man I've ever seen. I'm truly happy for you both.
I don't know what we'd do without you.
Madam, Mr. Henry Clavel. Come, Justine.
Dear Henry, how goes the world of finance?
Boring and unfulfilling, just as my father likes it. Now, you haven't told Victor of my impending arrival, have you?
Not at all. I'd never ruin such a surprise. Besides, I'm sure, after all these months away from us, having his oldest and dearest friend attend the university with him will make Victor a much happier man.
Now, remember, when my father asks what I'm studying, it's all banking and finance and such. If he knew I had a thought in my head other than figures, why, he would probably fly to the moon.
Of course. And when do you leave?
Tomorrow morning, I came by to see if there was anything you needed me to bring him, besides a kiss. From me, of course.
Just this latest correspondence. And please, encourage Victor to write me as soon as he can. I know he is enthralled in his work, but a more frequent word now and again would be most appreciated.
Of course. Well, I'm off to become a doctor. Or at least look like one when I play him on the stage.
Mr. and Mrs. Frankenstein. Baron and Baroness Frankenstein. Dr. Dr. and Madam Frankenstein. Come home to me soon, my love.
The central nervous system remains a mystery to us. Is it a series of interconnected tissues, as we suspect? Are the signals that create movement chemical or possibly electrical? We may never know. What we do know is that once the nerve endings are cut, they can never be repaired. The result is, of course, lack of mobility, and in most cases, eventual death. Questions?
I am most fascinated by this concept, sir. And while I agree that our current knowledge on the subject would lead us to believe that diseased tissue cannot be reanimated and repaired, alchemical theory tells us otherwise. Now, wouldn't it be advantageous if we combined both disciplines? I mean, theoretically, a dead heart would simply need to have the proper factors returned to it, to heal it. Imagine, if we could take a heart from a deceased body and place that heart into a body with a damaged heart, it could save the individual's life.
Oh my goodness, please sit down immediately.
Mr. Frankenstein, as always, I applaud your passion and imagination. However, I must point out that your theory is nothing more than flights of scientific fantasy. There is no known method for reanimating diseased or dead tissue. And to be even more frank, why would one wish to do so? The decay factor alone would spread throughout the entire individual's body, thus hastening death rather than restoring life. No, sir. You are best to leave this idea on the pages of fantasy where it belongs. Thank you, class. You are released.
Victor, in a public forum, you cannot bring up ideas such as those.
It can be done. I've done the research. It is possible.
Gentlemen,
It's not allowed.
something troubles you?
No, sir. I was just telling my delusional colleague here that it is blasphemous to propose what he said.
And I was telling my colleague that it is not my intention to be blasphemous. I simply believe we must push the boundaries we know to advance ourselves. Remember, it was not long ago that the idea of medication, vaccinations, and even surgery was considered blasphemy.
Passion is good, young Frankenstein. A fine trait in a young doctor, if channeled properly. Attempting to fly before it can walk makes life difficult for a young bird. The same can be said for a doctor.
Of course, sir. I meant no disrespect. I shall remain grounded for the moment.
It's a good thing Baldwin likes you, Victor. Some of the things you say. Oh, that reminds me. A letter arrived for you today. Here. Victor! Are you all right?
My dearest Victor, I can only imagine the loneliness you feel after reading this letter. It is sadly my duty to tell you that our beloved Mother Caroline has succumbed to the scarlet fever, despite Father's best efforts. The house feels so empty without her presence. William is thankfully too young to really notice her absence, and Justine and I have tried to fill his days with joy and laughter. Her father is understandably morose. He worked so hard to save her, Victor. I worry how this has all affected his own health. He looks so pale and tired.
Elizabeth, there you are. Your father's been looking. Can't believe she's gone. Just the thought of not seeing her smiling face every morning was a misjudged fair. And poor Victor, all alone with no one to take care of him.
I just can't stop seeing her lying there. She was so radiant, and how Victor adored her. I pray for him every night, Justine. I just don't know how this will affect him.
Victor is the strongest man I've ever known. I have no doubt he will survive this ordeal, and soon he'll be home and take over his father's practice, and best of all, marry you, and all of this sadness will be nothing more than memory.
I hope so, Justine. I just have this feeling of dread all the time now, as if something terrible is always just about to happen. I suppose it's how anyone should feel after such a tragedy.
All will be well. Now, please come join us. I've prepared a lovely tea, and I believe your father smiled at William this morning. That must be a good sign.
Gentlemen, your surgical precision is quite advanced. I would not have expected such fine work this early in your careers. You've impressed us all. I trust you have Mr. Frankenstein to thank for your vast improvements, Mr. Clavel.
Yes. He can be quite the nag when he wants to be, but I must admit, it is enjoyable to pass my courses. Even my father has started to accept that medicine might be a better career path than finance, or the stage.
Indeed. Mr. Frankenstein, let's cut down to the point. You invite me to dinner, get me all fat and full of good wine and conversation. I trust this is your pitch for you and Mr. Clavel to become my lead interns for next term.
I do have a motive for this evening, sir, but it is not for the internship. This book is a treasure to me. It is the very first thing I can remember my mother giving to me as a child. It is the works of Albertus Magnus, the noted alchemist. I can remember staying up till all hours of the night, reading every word, memorizing the formulas, and trying in vain to conduct these experiments. To no avail, of course. But this is the very reason that I have decided to become a doctor.
So, this is where your obsession with sorcery began, is it? Highly entertaining fiction, but rubbish, of course.
You didn't always think so. After our discussion in class on my heart theory, I decided to make available to myself every book and paper our medical library had to offer on the ideas and theories I discussed. As you stated, most of them were indeed flights of fancy or witchcraft. But then, I discovered something interesting. So interesting, in fact, that it has probably been lost for over 30 years since its publication. And it is that very thing that has led me to this hypothesis. You see, I believe that I have discovered the method from which I can create life.
Dear God, man, I knew you were drunk, but I didn't think you were that drunk. Create life. You'll have us thrown in the dungeon and staked through the eyeballs for such blasphemy.
It's not blasphemy, it's science. I believe that through alchemical and scientific means that it is possible to create a fully realized man-made being from reanimated dead tissue. I also believe that I have discovered the method from which I can grow the needed materials. All of this within certain parameters, of course.
Blasphemy. Next, you'll hear him spout some gibberish about fairies and dragons being real. I adore you, Victor, I really do. But you're not serious, are you?
It can be done.
And what does this have to do with me?
By order of the Crown, we hereby summon Professor Franz Waldman to appear before His Majesty's court to answer the charges of crimes against nature, grave robbery, tampering with evidence.
Enough! How dare you, sir? Where in God's name did you get this?
My father's office. He was at your trial. He spoke on your behalf as a character witness. He, of course, does not know I found this letter. Had he known, he certainly wouldn't have approved of me being here. I know you have the knowledge I seek, Professor. You have been there, haven't you? There is a way to bring my vision to life.
Hear me now, boy. If it wasn't for the respect I have for your father and what he did for me, I even entertain this madness. Yes, I did have the same delusional fantasy in my youth that you harbor now. To create life, as you call it. I thought I was God, never caring what people thought. I came close, young sir. Too close, indeed. Not a day goes by that I don't live with that horror. So I implore you, Mr. Frankenstein, give up this silly idea, or it will be the death of you.
I pray, Victor, that whatever you are planning, you abandon it. I've never seen Walden act that way before.
Components must be of the correct age and state of decay. Electrical sources should come from mechanical and natural nature. The proposed life form must be proportionately larger in all areas to accommodate for rapid decay. Water, saliva, amniotic fluid, all body fluid will be replaced with the alchemical compound. Now, muscle growth is achieved by connecting tissue. Reassembly of the organs must be precise down to the smallest detail to avoid complications in the neural growth and pathway. Circulatory, respiratory, reproductive, digestive, all systems must be intact to ensure proper restoration.
How goes studying, my dear, handsome, sweet, robust Dr. Victor? Have you discovered how to make men float yet? Because after last night, I think I may have beaten you to it.
Clearly, my evening hasn't been as exciting as yours with the young Miss Johann.
She'll make quite a lovely nurse. She's a wonderful flower.
Or perhaps a chambermaid. Breakfast is on the table.
Please write to your father and thank him for our stipend. God, I love the Swiss. So do confess, what have you been up to all night? You do look terrible, you know.
I'm busy working is all. You know how tough Krem's course is. And since Waldman's passing, I...
Pity, really, dying of a heart attack like that. It was never the same after our dinner that night. I guess you really got to him. How are you holding up?
A bit tired is all. But soon the course will be...
Not the course, Victor. It's been nearly 4 months since she's passed, and you've hardly said a word about her.
I hadn't noticed. Honestly, I've just been...
You know it's perfectly all right to talk.
I knew it.
Someone beating a rug.
I knew it. I knew it would work.
What in God's name is wrong with you?
I did it, Henry. Don't you understand? I did it.
Did what?
The week that Waldman passed, he sent me a letter. In it, it instructed me to meet a man named Klaus in Ingolstadt. He handed me this. Waldman's journal, depicting his experiments from when he was a young man. I've read every note, studied every diagram, and now, Henry, I did it. See, this heart was taken from the corpse of Frau Brecker's horse. I secured it from the slaughterhouse before I went into the chop. I have harnessed the electrical current to flow through the organ in combination to injecting a formula mixture of water, blood, and some special substance of my own design. The result, my friend, is obvious.
Victor, this is incredible.
And this is just the beginning. Soon, this heart will be the doorstep into a whole new world of science. Just think of it, Henry. No more death. No pain or suffering. An organ dies and we bring it back better and stronger than ever. Imagine the mothers who lost their babies to the plague and famine. The fathers whose children weep by their bedside. No more, Henry. No more death. That is what I can give to the world. We can give to the world. A new science. The most advanced science the world has ever seen.
This is the most outrageous thing I've ever encountered. And you call this science?
This is science, Henry. And soon, the entire world will be reunited with whomever they desire.
Is that what this is about?
I have discovered the key to restoring life, Henry. And now, I am ready to take the final step. The ultimate being. A life created not by God, but by man. A life that will never grow old. That will never know sickness or the cold sting of death. A life far superior to our own, Henry. Superior in every way possible. Just think of it. It'll be beautiful.
You're mad. Am I? I could stop you. You know I could. I could report you to the authorities. The church would hang you for this.
But you won't.
And why won't I?
Because deep down, Henry, you know I'm right.
Elizabeth, I implore you to come at once to Ingolstadt. Victor is unwell in the body as well as the mind. A terrible fever or madness has swept over him, and I fear if we do not act fast, all will be lost. As I write these words, Victor fights valiantly for his life. He was attacked by an unknown assailant and all I can decipher through his rantings and fever-induced screams is the word fiend. Come at once and tell no one else of these matters. The enclosed address will guide you, and I will meet you upon your arrival in the city. Yours in good standing, Henry Clerval. Justine, Mrs. Moritz!
You called, madam.
Prepare my trunk for traveling.
Oh, will you be traveling to the Lake Lodge, madam?
No, prepare my winter clothing, a heavy coat.
Winter clothing, but
Now, Mrs. Moritz.
What's going on? Has something happened to Victor?
I cannot say, my friend. All I know is I must go to him at once.
Go now. I will take care of your father and William. Go to him, Elizabeth.
Why are you standing there like a flustered peacock? Am I to load all of these trunks by myself? Get to work!
Yes, mother.
Please, madam, watch over this family. Bring the children home safely.
He's alive! Miracle of miracles, he's alive! Slow down, hero. Nearly recovered.
How in the name of heaven did I get here?
Some rugged, handsome, good Samaritan found you unconscious in that derelict warehouse you've been holed up in. He found you, pulled you out of the warehouse before the fire consumed you, and carried you home.
You, Henry? You saved my life? How long have I been unconscious for?
Nearly 4 weeks. Touch and go the whole way. First, the wounds and burns, followed by the fever, well, and the occasional nightmare or two. Let's not forget the vomiting and loose bowels. Other than that, I'd say you had it easy.
Thank you, Henry. I can never forgive myself. What was I thinking, Henry? What demon possessed me these past few months?
Not a demon, just blind ambition. I get the same reaction every time I walk into a woman's bedroom.
Is everything destroyed?
Yes, the fire ravaged the entire warehouse. The papers, the books, the specimens.
Are you certain?
Absolutely. All that remains is a pile of charred wood.
Praise heaven.
Ah, that'll be your medicine. Well, it seems you are in good hands now. I am no longer needed.
Elizabeth,
All this time apart. No word, no care, no thought of my feelings at all. Heartless worm. Damn you, Victor Frankenstein, how I love you so. I almost lost you. To what I don't know, nor do I care to. Whatever this was, Victor, let it go. Forget. I cannot bear to be apart from you any longer. I cannot think of a life without you.
I have been a fool. A self-indulgent, arrogant fool. So concerned with changing the world that I nearly lost my whole world. Can you ever forgive me?
It's over now. What's done is done. We move forward together.
I swear to you, Elizabeth, nothing shall ever come between us again. Nothing.
Now, the carriage is due to arrive in the morning. Now, I expect that the master's bedroom is laid perfectly and the mistress's vanity is well stocked.
Yes, mother, all preparations have been made. Won't it be lovely to have Victor home again?
And it'd be even more wonderful if you would not fawn over him like some silly child. William! Young man! Behave yourself! Don't make me use my rod! attend to your duties and there will be no issue. That's a good girl.
Who are you talking to, William? Is that imaginary friend of yours here again? Would he like a biscuit? William? William, mind me now. Honestly, I have no time for games. I have too much work to do. William? William? Oh my God,
I have never been more happy in my whole life. Look at us, Elizabeth. We are truly blessed.
And to think you were happy with a two-room flat in Ingolstadt. I must say, no finer house exists in all Geneva. There must be at least 100 rooms.
103 to be exact, and at least 10 for you, Henry.
That should do for a start. At least until the medical practice of Clerval and Frankenstein starts up.
And why do you get first name privilege?
Because I'm prettier.
No, Henry, we're nearly there.
Henry! Elizabeth, someone! Stay away! Stay away, you thief! Let me go! Let me go!
Not happy to see me again, father? The cave, north of the flocks. Maybe tonight, midnight. Come alone.
And if I refuse?
Sit! I hope you find the furnishings to your liking, Father. I know it is not as dignified as your noble house, but this is the best I can do with such limited means.
I should kill you where you stand, you fiend! You murdered Justine! You murdered my brother! Have you nothing to say for what you have done?
Necessary.
Necessary. How, in God's name, can killing two innocents be deemed necessary?
Killing your loved ones was merely a stopgap between today's meeting, Father. I have prepared for this moment ever since I learned of your existence. I see the disgust in your eyes, the repulsion. Where was this disgust when you were crafting me, when you were wallowing through the shallow graves and laboring with your chemicals? Ah, yes, Father. I know all about my creation, thanks to this!
But Henry said it was...
Destroyed? Oh no. It is actually quite safe. And it's a truly magnificent narrative. I particularly like the part where you wrote, its face is a mask of death and disease. Its body, is inhumanely grotesque. How did it come to this? Where did I go wrong? I must destroy the fiend? Hideous, malformed, fiend. Did these words come to your mind before you grabbed the cane and bashed me over the back? Or after? Why such distaste, Father? Because I had not turned out the way you had intended? Can any son be more disappointing to a father than I?
I am not your father.
Whether you choose to accept this or not, you are my father. But our drink grows shallow. Allow me.
How did you survive? And how did you know where I would be?
That tale is the exact reason why I sought you out. And that tale is the exact reason why you still breathe! You can continue to bear my presence for a bit longer. All of your questions will be answered.
If you assure me that no more harm will befall any more of my kinsmen, then I shall listen.
I suppose we should begin like all stories should, with nothing. For that is the only thing I can remember before the light. Nothing. Blackness. Calm. Then came the flash. Brilliant. Blinding. Then a muffled hum. Not unlike the sounds a newborn hears within its mother's womb. As my eyes opened, I beheld the machines. I heard the soft crackle of what I would soon learn as electricity fill my ears. What was this strange place? How did I get here? Even in my minute-old mind, these questions flooded my brain like a tide pool is swollen after a storm. And then my eyes fell upon you, my creator, so handsome, so hopeful. That is until you laid eyes upon your creation for the first time. The look of disappointment that washed over your face. I saw you write the words in the book. Why so shocked, Father? Hadn't you created me in your own image, just as God made man in his own image? My first emotion, my first interaction of any kind with people was one of disgust. And as I reached out to you for love and comfort, how was this gesture met? Oh, how I remember the pain of the rod as you whipped me. A newborn babe in a world that never wanted him. The fury at which you struck me, Father. But as the rod fell, I began to feel within me a great swelling of power, a strength of unknown origin. As I hurled you across the room and watched your skull smashed against the wall, I felt a thrill in my heart. As you lay unconscious, I saw the candles that had lit my way into the world. I tossed them aside and marveled at what I would eventually learn was fire, pain and pleasure from one source. How remarkable. As the flames licked my raw flesh, I seized your cloak, a mere article of clothing that brought me instant relief. I fled the inferno and ran through the darkened streets. Again, more sensations filled me. How could any creature sort through such a series of emotions? And then, the continued reactions of the people as they saw me run by. The women, screaming in terror. The children laughing. Did I split several men open? What would any animal do when it is trapped in a cage? Finally, the safety and solace of the forest. For days on end, I wandered the woods. Hunger, thirst, cold, and loneliness became my constant companions. And then, on what seemed like my 5th day of endless travel, I came upon a small hut. Next to the hut lay a small shed, which was thankfully unoccupied. I trudged in and found for the first time in my accursed life, peace. Within was a bale of straw and a small mound of rotten potatoes. My first meal. Never heartier did any creature eat than I on this eve. And then came sleep. Blissful relief from the horror of my existence. The dreams came fast. Fire, pain, anger. It was the strange sound that awoke me from my nightmares. A sound I had never heard before. I would come to know it as laughter. I beheld through a small hole in the wall next to my bed a family. A man, and what I became aware of later as his wife. And sitting next to the fire was an old man. Father is what they called him.
For goodness sake, Father, how do you have the energy to play after such a long day in the field?
Oh, when a man is passionate, he finds the strength.
May we all be as strong as you when we reach such a golden age. But Safie is right. You need to rest.
I noted the love and attention devoted to this old man. How the pair smiled as he spoke and shared stories. I could not understand the sounds they made, but I knew that the intention was one of love.
Oh, my dears, I hope you both live long enough to know the joy one day of having such fine children as you two take care of me. Now, what's for dinner? I feel as if I could eat a whole field tonight.
And the cold will do that to you. I'll get some wood.
Potato and onion stew it shall be.
Oh, bless you both.
And so it was. They slept, they ate, they worked. And thus was the same with me. I slept, I ate, and I watched. Food came in the form of whatever the family garden provided. I particularly enjoyed the potatoes and carrots, but I soon became fond of what the man called rabbit. It pained me to have to steal from them each night. But as I had not yet learned the means in which to survive, stealing was necessary. And so it continued for more than a month's time. I watched my benefactors in secret. I learned that they were poor farmers who filled my heart with guilt as I raided their small store of food nightly for my own needs. The old man was named DeLacy. The younger man was named Felix, or son, and the woman was called Safie. As I continued my observations, I also became aware of gender and the desires that a man has. At first, the physical responses frightened me. I was unaware that my body could do such things. I was confused by the thoughts that entered my head as I viewed Safie through the opening. I was ignorant to the differences between man and woman. But I was soon educated through Felix and Safie's love for each other. I, too, began to desire companionship. I soon set about the task of finding a suitable partner.
La 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 la. La 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 la.
After the incident with the woman, I vowed to keep my wanderings to the nearby woods and only ventured out at night. Then came a breakthrough. Language, letters, and finally voice. For 5 months, I worked in lonely solitude to master the language of De Lacy and his family. Soon, I was able to decipher all their conversations and sounds. I soon learned that the family was being harassed by a local magistrate who was hell-bent on taking their land from them.
You were given this land to work it, swine, not to flitter about with your wife and an old man. If I don't receive adequate payment in 1 week, I'll foreclose and throw you all into the mud like you deserve.
You don't understand. The weather froze the field. If we could
I don't care if the devil himself pissed on your crops.
Oh.
You have 1 week.
Cruelty knows no limits. And thusly, it was at this point that I vowed that I would watch over this family. I worked their field that very night, so that in the morning they would arise to see mounds of vegetables to sell at market. With my enhancements, the frozen ground lifted as easily as a flower.
God always finds the way. I have told you children for years that good will triumph.
It's a miracle, a true miracle. I don't think I can carry anymore. We should buy a horse and a cart with all the money we will make.
Perhaps we should buy 3 horses.
Now, stop this foolishness. I want to know who is doing this and why. Lord knows I would like to at least shake the hand of our silent benefactor.
Oh, Father, how I wanted to shake that hand. I wanted more than anything to reach out and embrace these wonderful people. But as I looked down at my own hand, with its translucent skin and blackened fingernails, I realized that could never be. At least I thought so, until a few weeks later, when Safie and Felix left for a day of marketing.
Now remember, Father, we will only be gone for a few hours.
Do stop all this fussing. I'm perfectly capable of taking care of myself. Now, off you two go. Lord knows you deserve time together.
You have your flute right by your side.
Who is it? Please, announce yourself, friend. Forgive an old man whose eyesight has failed him.
Traveler, sir, a lost soul seeking a bit of rest and company. Might I join you this afternoon?
My house is yours. Take as you will. I'm afraid I don't have much, but you're more than welcome to it. better, I think. We are blessed to have refuge on such a cold day. May I ask you a question, friend? I hear a man's voice, but it's unlike any I've heard before. Where do you come from?
I wish I knew. Friend, I have no memory of my birthplace, just that it was a room with a man.
Strange. You make it sound as if almost you were a newborn. Have you nothing to help identify yourself?
I believe this belonged to my father, but alas, I am untrained in the ways of reading and language, and I cannot decipher all of the symbols.
Symbols? You mean letters. Alas, I can't read anymore. My eyesight is well beyond the needs of reading. But perhaps if you describe the letters to me, I could help you maybe learn something about your past. Yes. I think it'll work. Now let's begin, shall we?
And so, we sat for several hours, a man and a monster deciphering the pages of text, which you so helpfully began with. This is the journal of Dr. Victor Frankenstein of Geneva. DeLacy explained the location of Geneva and the noble name of Frankenstein. Even in this small house, your name was well known. And with that, I knew my family name and where they were from. My heart leapt with joy as I embraced DeLacy and kissed his hand in gratitude. But this joy was not to last.
What is it? What are you doing?
It was at this moment that I dedicated my life to a single goal: to find you, to hold you accountable for what you had done.
And now, here we are. What is to become of me now? Are you going to dismember me? Snap my neck like a rabbit in spring? Or perhaps burn me alive? You stand here and tell me of the horrors of this world. I know of these horrors. That is why I created you. You were supposed to be the gateway into a new science. The end of death and disease. You were supposed to be better than us. But I assume I was wrong. You are nothing more than an abomination. So do what you must, demon.
In my time with Lacey and his family, I learned the most important of human traits, Father: compassion for your fellow man. I'm not here to kill you. The death of your kinsman was an unfortunate act. But I had to show you that I am no one to be fooled with. I have sought you out with a way to right this wrong.
How?
I have exceeded your expectations in all ways, Father. I am stronger than every man alive. I cannot be harmed by weapons or natural forces. In short, I am Adam, the beginning of a new species. And as such, I require the one thing in this whole life I cannot have. I desire Eve.
Eve?
A woman. A woman made in the image of a man. Me. I seek your help, Father, in creating for me a mate. A woman born of your own mind and hands. Do this for me, and all debts shall be paid.
How can I even consent to such a request? Look at the damage only one of you has caused. Imagine if there were two or more.
I am not interested in the morality of your choices. If you do not give me a bride, I will rain fire on you, the likes of which hell itself has not seen. Do this for me, and upon my soul, you and your kind will never lay eyes on me and my bride again. We shall be as the wind, ever flowing, changing, silent. You will hear of us only in whisper, in rumor. Please, Father, help me.
So be it.
What are you going to do?
Shall do what I must, and pray that this devil holds true to his word.
Have you told Elizabeth yet?
How can I? How can I even begin to tell her of this madness? That I created a man from the dead. That the man that she believes to be a good doctor and a loving fiancé is nothing more than a madman, Henry. I am Fortune's fool. Fortune's fool.
Enough! For pity's sake, Victor, she deserves the truth. If she were mine, I would have confided in her already. Show her some sense of respect.
Respect. And what do you know about respect and women, Henry? How many wives have you bedded?
Damn you!
Stop it! Both of you! In the name of heaven, what is this? What could cause such devoted friends to fight like this?
It was my fault, Elizabeth. I spoke out of turn. I revealed to Victor my true affections for you. He was right to slap me for it.
Oh, for goodness sake, is that all? Victor, you silly ass. And the trouble with you, Henry, is you allow too many tankards of ale to get the better of your judgment. Gives you a sense of courage and stupidity, the likes of which I haven't seen since I met a young man named Victor Frankenstein. Now, if you two are through playing barbarians, perhaps we could talk about the living. I figured next week is a perfect time for the ceremony. Father's health is whole.
About the wedding, Elizabeth. I think that we should... I have some pressing business to attend to, and I think we should just hold off. A month should suffice.
A month? Henry, is he serious? Have I not waited long enough? What in God's name could be so pressing as to delay our wedding again?
I cannot tell you, my love. Not yet. But I assure you, Elizabeth, if I could postpone this in any way possible, I would. But I must finish this.
Spare
Otherwise...
me your reasons, Victor. I have heard enough of your lies to last me a lifetime. And I've waited long enough. I'm through with you.
Elizabeth, please.
She deserves the truth, Victor.
The only hope Elizabeth and I have is for me to finish this as soon as I can.
Well then, if that's the case, where do we begin?
Talking about.
We nearly lost you to this accursed monster once before. Did you really think I'd let you do this alone?
I cannot ask you to do that, my friend. So many have been hurt by my folly.
The sooner this is done, the sooner we all get our lives back. Now, where do we begin?
Bless you, Henry. Now, go down to the stable and see Robert. He will know where the equipment is stored. We must find suitable lodging and location. My father has a colleague in England. He has a secluded farm that will do nicely.
What of Elizabeth and your father?
I will speak to Elizabeth. And I will tell my father that the wedding guests cannot arrive in time. And we simply must delay the ceremony to arrive, allow them time to arrive and travel.
What of the demon? If he is as resourceful as you say, then he is sure to follow.
Better he follow us to England. Then remain here where he can cause more harm. Now go. We must act quickly.
I'll be going to France for a short time, Mrs. Moritz. Father's given me money from our parents' fund.
Oh, will Master Victor be coming as well?
Master Victor can go to the devil for all I care.
Madam, if I may, I have watched you and Master Victor grow up in this household. It has been my greatest joy to see you both become fine, upstanding, young adults. Master Victor is a difficult man, for sure, but if there's one thing I'm certain of, he lives for you. Ever since the first day you came into our lives. So if he asks you to wait, it is with good reason.
Mrs. Moritz, you don't understand.
My
He's not...
daughter is gone. You and Master Victor are the only family I have left. Please, do not let me leave this life knowing that the two people I care for most are torn apart, especially when they need each other so much now.
Justine loved you, Mrs. Moritz. And we love you too.
Go to him, child. Make things right.
Elizabeth, I love you more than life itself. And I shall tell you everything. Everything. May God forgive me for what I've done. And for all I must do.
Whatever it is, Victor, whatever you have done, we will face it together as one.
It all began with Mother's death. Now, he wants me to create a mate in his own image. And that is why I must leave you. So I can finish this horrific request, and then we can be married and put this whole thing behind us forever.
In my wildest nightmares, I could not have imagined such a story. That poor Justine and William died for your mad dream. God forgive you, Victor Frankenstein. God forgive you.
Soon, my love, my father will awaken you, and we shall be together forever. She is quite pretty, Father, even in her current state.
This body is too decomposed for work. We will need a female who has died recently. And she must be young, around 18 to 25 years of age.
How is your fiancée, Father? Is she well?
My fiancé is none of your concern.
Everything that is the house of Frankenstein is my concern. Until my mate joins me, I shall keep you pointed in the correct direction.
You truly believe that this is just a matter of stitching pieces together and pulling a few levers? You took years to create, years of research and science, and if not for Waldman's journals, I don't think you could have ever been...
I'm not interested in your scientific ramblings, Father. I have waited patiently for over a month for my bride, and still I see no results.
The more you hound me, the longer this will take.
My patience is at an end. I long to feel the warm, soft touch of a woman. I need a woman who will not look upon me as a monster. I need a lover, a friend, a wife. I expect my bride by week's end.
I have barely even begun to piece together.
You'll do this for me, Victor Frankenstein of Geneva? If you deny me my wedding night, then on the devil's word, I shall be with you on yours.
Are you all right? We can't do this, Henry. Imagine a world filled with monsters such as he.
Victor, we must finish.
We can't do this. It will be the end of all civilization. Just one of these monsters is enough. Imagine if there were two, or more.
You can make her sterile. Leave the womb out.
Even if we do, there is no guarantee it would work. I have no explanation for his strength and agility. More superhuman than anything we've ever known, Henry. Waldman's journals told me nothing of these side effects. What would a female do? Imagine the horror of their progeny. No, this must end.
We must work fast. He expects his bride by week's end.
We should split. I will handle the equipment. I will take the ship to Ireland and dispose the equipment in the sea. No one will ever follow in my footsteps again.
I will go to your father and Elizabeth. I will watch over them until you return. But what of the female?
Burn it. There should be no trace left. Now follow me.
Elizabeth, Henry and I have abandoned this folly and are en route to Geneva. Henry should arrive within the week, and I have instructed him to ensure your safety and the security of our land against the very monster that has infected our lives with its evil ways. I ask that you always remain on the grounds. Do not stray from the protection of the armed guard, for fear that this fool will try and take you from me. When Henry arrives, follow his every instruction. I will meet you once I have disposed of all that was this accursed work. We will marry upon my return. Always in my heart, Victor.
Good day, sir. Might you be Dr. Victor Frankenstein?
I am. Whom might I ask is inquiring?
Are you familiar with the Dr. Henry Goodell, sir?
He is my good friend and colleague. What is this about?
When was the last time you spoke to him? Saw him?
A week ago, when I boarded my ship to Ireland, he was headed to Geneva to be with our family.
And your whereabouts since then, sir?
Board my vessel yonder. We got caught in a surge and the wind kept us delayed a few days. What is this about, man?
Dr. Clavel was murdered, sir. Murdered. We found his body in the room of state. His neck was broken in 2 places. And stranger still, his throat was slashed with surgical precision. We assume that only a man with great physical prowess and surgical skill could have committed such a crime. And you, sir, fit that description.
Dear God! Henry!
Sir, please.
No!
So we can figure this out, sir, I ask you to
The
come
bastard! The devil bastard!
What news of the master?
He has been cleared. Wounds on Henry's neck were made by a man with much larger hands than Victor's. He returns home this very day. He instructs you to ensure we are prepared to be married immediately upon his return. We'll leave for a holiday after the ceremony.
Oh, thank God for justice, madam. I knew Victor was no killer. Oh, Mr. Henry, I don't know how much more of this my heart can take. First your blessed mother, then little William, then my Justine, and now Henry. It's as though we're cursed, madam. Cursed to endure for some unknown reason.
God does not punish us for our evils, Mrs. Lawrence. It's men who punish. But fear not. Victor assures me that all will be well once the killer is brought to justice. I'm sorry I cannot tell you where we'll be going, but he insisted.
Oh, never you mind. Look to yourselves. I shall attend your father. Bless him. At least he lived long enough to see his beloved children happily married.
I can't rest knowing it's out there.
Victor, we are alone. Nobody knows where we are. We are safe, secure, together at last.
Just want to patrol the grounds one more time before we retire for the night, and then I can rest easy.
For years now, I have watched you suffer with this dreaded secret. But it's over now. It's out in the open, and you don't have to face it alone anymore. I know the pain we have suffered after losing our loved ones. If you and I are together, we can endure.
I love you so much, Elizabeth. You are my everything. Wait for me.
For all eternity.
A gift, my father, on your wedding night.
As I held Elizabeth's lifeless body in my arms, it was at that moment that I decided to dedicate my life to finding that fiend and killing him once and for all. And thus the chase began. Through the Alps, all across England, I have chased that demon from one town to the next, always north.
Peace, friend.
Peace. I shall never know peace, nor be calm, until that devil is found. I have traveled more than any man should for revenge. And now, I feel my journey is coming to an end. For I have found that ghoul, no more than 3 days away from here. I must...
Easy, man. All will be well. There are no monsters here. No demon. Here is peace.
Peace. In our pursuits, Captain, there can be no peace. Avoid ambition. I'm tired. So tired of all these pursuits, Captain.
Then rest, friend. You can stay with us for as long as you like. My cabin is yours now.
Sleep.
though my strange companion was gone, I pondered his story, questioning both his sanity and my own. And as we prepared to commend the body to the sea, I returned to my cabin to receive a shocking surprise.
Why do you weep? After all you've done in your wretched life, why do you weep so?
Should a son not weep for his father? You have nothing to fear, sir. I am done with killing. I had assumed that watching my father's life end would provide me with some sort of satisfaction. It is not. I am just as hollow now as I was when I killed all those people that he told you about.
You were listening.
A truly horrifying tale. Yet laughingly realistic. Yet, here we are.
What now?
My destiny is laid forth, Captain. But yours. What will you do?
Why? What do you mean?
The way I see it, Captain, you have two choices. You can either heed my father's warning and look upon his failure as a sign to abandon your dream, or you can continue to press forth at the cost of everything that is sacred to you. Either way, you lose. Such is the way of man. Progress for the sake of progress is nothing more than giving a child a loaded cannon or a sharpened steel blade. Sooner or later, no matter the skill, the wielder will pay.
Wait. Please.
I do not fear death as humans do. I welcome it. Do not mourn for me, for I was never alive.
At least tell me your name.
You never gave me one.